My name is John, and I'm 80 years old. Over the course of my life, I've learned that wisdom isn't tied to how much you know. It's about how you act. We all encounter people who make foolish decisions. Sometimes we even catch ourselves falling into those patterns. But here's the thing. Being foolish isn't permanent. Recognizing the signs is the first step to growth. Have you ever wondered what separates a wise person from a fool? Today, we'll uncover the 6 signs of foolish behavior as seen through the lens of Stoic philosophy. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you might just walk away with insights that help you avoid these traps and recognize them when you see them in others. Foolishness isn't about intelligence, it's about mindset. You could have degrees on your wall or years of experience under your belt, but without the right approach to life, wisdom will always slip through your fingers. I've seen it time and time again. People who seem smart on the surface, but sabotage themselves through stubbornness, impulsivity, or the inability to accept change. And the most dangerous part? Foolish behavior often goes unnoticed until the damage is done. That's why recognizing these signs matters. The Stoics believe that wisdom comes from understanding what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and responses. Foolishness, on the other hand, comes from neglecting that responsibility and letting ego or fear dictate our decisions. Today, we're not here to judge others. We're here to reflect. As I walk you through these 6 signs of foolishness, I invite you to pause and think about your own life. Have you ever displayed one of these behaviors? I know I have. But the good news is, awareness leads to change. So let's begin this journey into understanding what foolishness truly looks like and how we can replace it with wisdom, strength, and clarity. Have you ever met someone who seems allergic to advice? No matter how helpful or well-meaning your words are, they refuse to listen. Holding on to their opinions as if admitting they're wrong would shatter their identity. This is one of the most telling signs of foolishness, an inability to learn because they're too proud to listen. The Stoics had a lot to say about this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If anyone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change. I seek the truth, which never harmed anyone. The harm is in persisting in your own self-deception." That's the wisdom we should strive for. Being open to correction, knowing that learning doesn't diminish us, it strengthens us. But fools see it differently. To them, admitting a mistake feels like weakness. They'd rather continue down the wrong path than acknowledge they need guidance. I once knew a man named George. He was successful in business, but stubborn in his personal life. His marriage was falling apart because he refused to listen when his wife tried to communicate her needs. He thought he knew best, until she left. By the time George realized his mistake, it was too late. Here's the lesson. Refusing to listen doesn't protect you, it isolates you. True wisdom comes from humility, from recognizing that we don't have all the answers and that the people around us can help us grow. The next time someone offers you advice, pause before you reject it. Ask yourself, am I resisting because it's bad advice, or because my ego doesn't want to hear it? The fool closes his ears. The wise man listens, learns, and evolves. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to take offense at the smallest things? A harmless joke, constructive criticism, or even an honest disagreement sends them into a storm of anger or resentment. This is a classic sign of foolishness. Being so fragile that you see every disagreement as a personal attack. The Stoics believed that emotional control was the foundation of wisdom. Seneca once said, "He who is offended when told the truth has more to fear from his own reflection than from the words of others." Let that sink in. People who are easily offended often aren't reacting to the external situation. They're reacting to their own insecurities. Instead of reflecting on what's being said, they lash out. shutting down any chance for growth. I remember a colleague named Lisa. She was talented and hardworking, but the moment someone criticized her work, even constructively, she would explode. To her, feedback wasn't an opportunity to improve. It was an insult, and because of that, she stopped learning. The irony is, the more easily offended you are, the more you invite the very disrespect you're trying to avoid. People tiptoe around you, they stop being honest, and in the end, you isolate yourself from growth. The Stoics taught that insults only have power if we give them power. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The next time you feel offended, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, is this offense a sign that I need to grow? Wise people embrace feedback, even when it's uncomfortable, because they know that discomfort is the price of progress. Fools, on the other hand, let their emotions control them. But here's the truth. Strength isn't found in reacting, it's found in staying calm. Fools often prioritize short-term pleasure over long-term fulfillment. They chase the high of the moment, the thrill, the indulgence, without considering the consequences waiting just around the corner. Seneca warned us about this. He said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." And nothing wastes more time than mindlessly chasing temporary pleasure while ignoring the bigger picture. I knew someone like this. Let's call him James. He had a good job, a supportive family, and plenty of opportunities for growth. But instead of focusing on building something meaningful, he spent his days seeking the next thrill: gambling, parties, and impulsive purchases. For a while, it seemed like he was living the dream. But behind the facade of excitement, he was trapped in a cycle of highs and lows, constantly chasing the next thing to distract him from his deeper dissatisfaction. The Stoics believed that true happiness comes from eudaimonia, a sense of fulfillment rooted in living with purpose and virtue. They taught that pleasure isn't inherently bad, but when it becomes the primary goal, it leads to emptiness. Think about it. When you chase pleasure without purpose, you're never satisfied. You get the high, but then what? The void returns, deeper than before, leaving you anxious and restless. Seneca put it perfectly. A man who seeks pleasure will always be poor, for he will never be satisfied with what he has. The wise person understands that lasting happiness isn't found in fleeting pleasures. It's found in discipline, in working toward meaningful goals, and in appreciating life's simple joys. So ask yourself, are you pursuing something that will bring you fulfillment? Or are you just chasing the next distraction? Because fools run after pleasure, but the wise seek purpose. One of the clearest signs of a foolish person is their refusal to take responsibility. Instead of reflecting on their choices, they point fingers at everyone else, their boss, their family, society, or even bad luck. To them, life is something that happens to them, not something they have any control over. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus warned against this mindset. He said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The wise understand that setbacks are inevitable, but they see every failure as an opportunity to learn and grow. Fools, on the other hand, waste time blaming others and miss the lesson. I once worked with someone named Kevin. Whenever something went wrong, it was never his fault. Missed deadlines, his team wasn't efficient, a mistake in a project, poor instructions. He always had an excuse, but never a solution. Over time, his reputation suffered. People stopped trusting him because they knew he would deflect responsibility instead of owning up to mistakes. What Kevin didn't realize is that by blaming others, he was giving away his power. You see, When you accept responsibility, you gain control. If you acknowledge that your choices play a role in your circumstances, you empower yourself to make changes. But when you blame others, you stay stuck, waiting for someone else to fix your problems. Marcus Aurelius believed that self-accountability was central to a good life. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The next time you face a setback, ask yourself, what role did I play in this? What can I do differently next time? Because the truth is, fools see failure as something to avoid or deny, but the wise see it as a teacher. Blaming others might feel easier, but in the long run, it only keeps you from growing. Have you ever met someone who always dominates the conversation? No matter the topic, they have a story, an opinion, or advice to give, whether it's relevant or not. They talk, and talk, and talk, but rarely say anything of real substance. This is another hallmark of foolishness, speaking more than they listen or think. The Stoics valued the power of silence. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Learn to be silent. Let your actions speak louder than your words." They believed that wisdom often lies in thoughtful reflection, not constant chatter. But fools crave attention. They believe that the more they speak, the more knowledgeable they appear. What they fail to realize is that by talking without listening, they reveal their ignorance. I once knew someone like this, a man named Paul. Paul loved being the center of attention. At meetings, he'd speak at length, offering opinions on every topic. But when others tried to contribute, he'd interrupt or dismiss their points. He didn't listen. He waited for his turn to speak again. And do you know what happened over time? People stopped taking him seriously. They nodded politely during his monologues, but tuned him out. Here's the irony. Fools think constant talking elevates their status, but in reality, it lowers it. The Stoics taught that wise people listen more than they speak. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Listening isn't just about politeness. It's about learning. It's about understanding others' perspectives and gaining new insights. When you speak without listening, you miss the chance to grow. The next time you feel the urge to dominate a conversation, pause. Ask yourself, am I adding value with my words, or am I just filling space? Wise people speak when they have something meaningful to say. Fools talk endlessly, hoping to be noticed. Change can be uncomfortable, there's no denying that. But for fools, change is more than discomfort. It's a threat. They resist it, fight against it, and cling to the familiar, even when the familiar is holding them back. This fear of change is one of the greatest barriers to growth. The Stoics understood that change is inevitable. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change, and accustom yourself to the idea that nature loves nothing so much as to change." But fools see change as something to fear rather than embrace. They stay in toxic relationships, jobs that no longer serve them, or habits that keep them stuck, because the idea of stepping into the unknown terrifies them. I knew a woman named Linda who perfectly embodied this struggle. She had worked at the same company for decades, even though she hated her job. Opportunities for better roles came and went, but she never applied. When I asked her why, she said, "What if the new job is worse? What if I fail?" That "what if" mentality kept her trapped. She chose the discomfort she knew over the potential growth she feared. The Stoics believed that life's challenges, including change, are opportunities for development. Epictetus said, "Difficulties are things that show a person who they are." Wise people don't run from change. They adapt, they learn, and they move forward. The truth is, change will happen whether you like it or not. The question is, will you grow with it or be left behind? The next time you face change, ask yourself, is my fear protecting me or is it limiting me? Because fools fear change and stay stuck. The wise embrace change and grow stronger. As I reflect on these 6 signs of foolish behavior, one thing becomes clear. Being foolish isn't permanent. We've all displayed some of these behaviors at one point or another. What matters is whether we recognize them and choose to grow. The Stoics didn't view foolishness as a fixed trait. They saw it as a lack of awareness, a gap that can be closed through reflection, discipline, and self-awareness. Marcus Aurelius taught that wisdom isn't about never making mistakes, it's about learning from them. He wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." So as you think back on these 6 signs, ask yourself, which of these have I encountered in my own life? Which ones am I still holding on to? Because recognizing them is the first step toward wisdom. Remember, wisdom isn't about being perfect. It's about striving to be better every day. Fools stay stuck, but the wise evolve. Which of these 6 signs resonated with you the most? Have you ever caught yourself refusing to listen or fearing change? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below. If this reflection made you think, consider sharing this video with someone who might need a reminder that growth is always possible. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, John the Stoic, for more reflections, life lessons, and timeless wisdom. Together, let's keep learning, growing, and striving for wisdom.